Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Innervated podcast. Once again, this is episode number 6. We are recording on the beautiful spring evening of May 18th. I'm your host, Radoslav Nidrakolev. I almost forgot my own name. That's fantastic. And once again, I'm joined by my three wonderful co-hosts. Returning for you've been missing for quite some time now, Skim. Right? What have you been doing?
Dude, I was turning 22. I had to celebrate that
Right.
properly by drinking and drinking responsibly, of course.
Of course,
So, yeah,
responsibility. Yeah, you said it, you didn't get drunk, which is
yeah, that was kind of sad. But we played video games like the nerds we are, so I guess it kind of balances it out.
yeah. It's as long as you play video games and go full nerdy, that's a proper birthday. I mean, everything else is optional, basically. We also have the Chiv as per usual. Chiv, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Got the new Mobo in. Got a whole bunch of shit upgraded on my piece of shit computer. I'm fucking ecstatic.
And returning
And
for
hungover.
and what? Sorry,
And hungover.
and hungover. Well,
Yeah, I did not drink responsibly.
you have to balance out Skim's lack of responsibility.
Damn right.
And for a third episode in a row, we have the founder of Goat Orgy Team. It's Logan, coming from the wonderful country of Greece, who's now having a party in his house. So he might be having, there might be like some loud noises in the background, for which we apologize. But Logan, please tell us how did the Goat Orgy go for you today?
Yeah, it's awesome like every god orgy. I mean, what bad can go on in a god orgy? You
This is
okay, whatever, dude.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. Okay. So we have a wonderful show for you prepared. Starting with a quick news roundup of the day, of the week rather. It's been a kind of a slow week, but we still had one event over the weekend. The HTC Invitational happened over Saturday and Sunday, and Forsen Boys came out victorious in the end. It was a pretty tight match against Tides of Time. So yeah, I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but if you didn't, you should go back to check it out because these guys were playing some pretty weird and strange decks, especially Tides of Time. He brought Murlocs and Dragon Hunter. Yes, that's right. I'm not making this up. This actually happened. He brought these decks to a tournament and he almost won it. It was a 3-1 final, so kind of the Murlocs betrayed Tides of Time in the end, but it was a great final. Guys, how much did you see of this? And the question of the day is Tides of Time officially insane now? Is he like gone completely mental, bringing Murlocs? Is he gone full Freshka? Because this wasn't even the Nvidia tournament, the joke tournament where everybody goes and tests their weird shit.
No, actually, there's a kind of bit of logic there if you think about it. If all you bring are the same net decks that everybody else is bringing, then everybody's going to know how to beat you. They're going to know the stats and what plays and what they should be looking for. You bring shit that's outside the meta or even old meta, you can actually gain a significant advantage over them. So there is some bit of logic in it, but Dragon Hunter, he went completely batshit crazy on that one. I'm sorry, he did.
I mean,
No.
we've seen his Dragon Warrior before. I think he played it in
Mm-hmm.
what was the tournament he won? Kingdom for Charity something, or yeah, I think that was the tournament. So he brought the Revenge Volcanic Drake something.
Yeah, that one it actually worked,
Yeah.
but Dragon Hunter, no, no, no. It's just bad. It's like playing Core Rager in my damn deck. It's not gonna happen.
I just play dragon decks anyway nowadays, so I like dragon decks.
Oh, I love people who play Dragon decks. They're easy to beat.
Yeah, I do play Dragon Lock and Dragon Druid all the time on ladder.
Okay, so yeah, and again, really really fun matches. Actually, speaking of the Murlocs, the reason Tides of Time actually beats Zelay is because Zelay didn't know how to play around Murlocs. Like he let them grow in health, and he couldn't Hellfire them and Shadowflay them anymore. This is the only reason. Like he was on Handlock going against Murlocs, and he was just continuously life tapping, and This never goes well when you let murlocs procreate and grow
Actually,
in size.
for new people that don't know about Murloc decks, Murloc decks supposed to be good against Handlock because they can burst you down before
Yeah,
you can play Molten Giants.
yeah, exactly.
They are, but I mean, dealing with them, we all learned how to do that in CBT. There's like two targets you aim for, kill those, and the rest of the deck falls apart.
I mean, when's the last time any of you guys have played against the Murloc deck?
Well,
Yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay. Screw you then.
I actually played so much against murlocs like in beta that I know the deck completely by heart, basically, because I know that.
But that's just because Blizzard hasn't changed the Murlocs
Yes.
ever since. Like they haven't
Wait,
even
wait.
added proper Murlocs.
They gave
Yeah.
two, and then one that summons a bunch more to your hand, but they moved it away from Warlock over to Shaman, which I think was a
Yeah.
horrible fucking idea.
Yeah, yeah.
I like Murlocs.
Of course, you like
like
goats
sheep,
better,
too.
though, yeah. Anyways, half of the Legendary Series finals is also being completed. Last week we saw life coach Colento, Kabi, and Reynad come from the Legendary Series match days. And this week we had the redemption qualifiers being held over the last 4 days. And we have Trump, Roger, Let Paint, and Osaka. Those will be going to the ESL Legendary Series Grand Finals in Burbank, California, which will be the first week of June. So it's a really nice mix already of no names and underground but still good names, and completely unknowns, because I don't really know who Kabi and Let Paint are. Like, they are not even of the underground clique players that maybe Osaka and the guys like Alish and whoever and belong to. They're kind of like completely new guys to the scene, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen. What do you guys have you guys heard anything about these two players outside their Legendary Series performance?
No, I was too focused on Cheesecake to really care about the rest of them because I know Cheesecake. He's a great guy. But it's always good. You're always going to see that in these kind of open qualifiers where you're going to get people that you may not have heard of. And this is their chance to rise and shine. So you're always going to see that. And this is this match's new group. So let's hope the best for them.
Yeah. Also, a lot of the former Dark Star team moved over to SK Gaming to make a quite sizable roster. Freakies, Paul Airbrushed, and Martin Krieg. Martin Krieg wasn't originally on Darkstar, I believe, but the other three Swedes were, and they were pretty known for a long time in the scene, kind of like, the Osaka buddies. So Osaka and Freaky actually a long time testing partners. So really good to see SK Gaming pick up more players and becoming, maybe they're going to rival, Archon and Nihilum right now, and Tempo Storm and Cloud9, the top teams over there. It was kind of difficult to do it just with Kranich and Cal Retard, and they still have Kranich and Number Guy originally, right?
Yeah, last I checked. But what I really like about this is they got Spo. Spo, for those of you that don't know, he was like one of the originators back during before we even had the client. All right, this guy was playing in tournaments using Cockatrice Emulator, and he was pretty much saying, this is how Druid is going to be played. This is how Druid can be played. Accept it. And he pretty much originated a lot of the designs that people have attributed to other well-known players like Strife Crow and things of that nature. But he was doing it before they even were on the scene. So it's kind of amazing. He took a break off for his own personal reasons, and now here he is back. It's kind of like getting Forsen to be on your team. That's how, grandfather this guy is. All the original hardcore players, they know this guy and they respect him. So that's a huge win for that team already.
Right.
Yeah, Spo is like the guy that made the mid-range summon. Back when everyone was playing control summon, he made the mid-range one back in the days. And all the builds afterwards are based on his deck.
Yeah. Again, it was a bit of a quiet week. Nothing much happened. I know that there will be actually some big news coming tomorrow. Some new teams will be formed, so stay tuned. We will have you covered on GoSGamers.net. It's, interesting movement in the scene, even though it's a bit of a quiet month in May. But anyway, moving on to our first topic for the night. it's actually going to be a little bit different. We actually usually discuss more serious topics, more in-depth ones. We don't really talk about balance. We don't really talk about card design. But I wanted to bring this up because I saw a couple of posts on Reddit over the past week, and one was Will. One was saying that after the power level of the cards has grown now with the new expansions, should Blizzard rethink of unnerfing some cards that they previously did nerf? And there was also a video view that I saw again on Reddit today that was basically a top 16 or so most overpowered cards. So I thought, hey, maybe we can talk about this a bit more before moving to our main topic. So we can basically put it this way: if there have been a lot of cards that have been nerfed, changed, redesigned, etc., etc., they're cards that should never go back to their original design. We are all taking Undertakers, we're all taking Leroy Jenkins, Unleash the Hounds, the 2-man Unleash the Hounds, or the original Battle Unleash the Hounds. They were all
that was
bad.
So much better than what we got now.
It was still stupid powerful though.
It was not. It was so easy to counter.
Okay, we had 8 mana Mind Control, we had 8 mana Pyroblast, we had 5 mana Gadget Zans. These cards probably should not go back to their original design.
5 mana Sylvanas.
5 mana Sylvanas.
Oh, I missed 5 mana Sylvanas. That was like auto include 5 mana drop. What do I need? Sylvanas done.
Yeah, kind of like Lotheb now.
Damn near.
A lot of probably one of the most broken cards I can think of is the targetable Thinkmaster over Spark. Back in the days when you can just choose the copy you want to, the minion you want to transform. But again, we know which cards should never go back and be unnerfed. But there's certainly merit to think about some of the cards that are not really extraordinary when you think of how they previously were. And the first card that the Reddit posts I mentioned, talked about, and the first card that came to my mind was Novice Engineer. Now, Novice Engineer is currently 1/1, but when it was released, it was a 1/2 with the same effect, a cantrip. It on Battlecry, it draws a card. It doesn't really look stupid powerful, especially considering the other 1 draws we have. I mean, the other 2 draws we have currently in the game. So what do you guys think? Let's start with this card and maybe move on to other stuff. Like I'm thinking cards like Argent Commander, which was a 4/3 originally, Blood Imp, which was a 1/1 initially, Shatterstar Cleric, which was a 3/3, Flare, one of the more recent examples.
Blinded is not only 1/1. It was giving Sin 1 health to every unit in the board. Now it gives Sin 1 +1 health to 1 minute at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
It was like an auto include in every Murloc deck because of what it did. Because it made taking out Murloc decks like almost impossible.
Yeah, true. But let's start with the Novice Engineer and see what this leads us. What do you guys think? Or rather, okay, let's leave the cards for later. Do you actually think that this should happen? Unnerfing cards, revisiting old content and revitalizing it back for the new meta. Skim?
I mean, yeah, in general, of course, because that would make the game overall more interesting. Because I feel like every time, like after every expansion, there's this certain time where people have just figured out what cards are sort of good and what aren't, and you just see the same decks, you see the same cards, you see the same sort of structures and styles. You see them all over and over again. There's only a few innovations and only a few people actually, want to have fun. Like Tides, for example, it's fun and just puts a Murloc deck out there. So I'd love to see a few old cards just being, being brought up again, because the only way you're going to see a Novice Engineer in a deck is if you're playing Arena these days. So I'm not even sure if it would be playable if it was a 1/2, but just in general, if it would be nice if Blizzard revisited old cards. But as you said, and as many said in those Reddit threads, it's very unlikely to see this happening, but it would be cool.
Chiv?
Well, originally, when Novice Engineer was out, everybody was taking 2 of them because it shrank down the deck size. It sped it up. And that was kind of the initial idea. Then came along, certain concepts of aggro with Mage Aggro, Zoo, and things of that nature. And then what we started seeing is like, oh, hey, turn 2, here comes Novice Engineer. Oh, it's still persistable. Guess what? Here comes that stupid cleric and turns it into a 2/3, now making it a lot more viable. And it was just very difficult for a lot of people to deal with. So it was getting way more value out of it than Blizzard felt it probably should have. Do I think that they're going to go back and reverse that? I have yet to see Blizzard ever reverse a decision they made unless it involved screwing with Hunter more than they already have. And that's just like, okay, yeah, we were kind of wrong about this meta event. No, we were wrong about that meta event. Well, now this creates this, and now we got to nerf this. Just leave Hunter alone. Just give us new cards. Just stop messing with it. Just give us new cards. That's all we need.
Right, because you're saying that they're never gonna reverse the decision they've made, and I do think so as well. Just because there's also another thing, revising old cards means that there's an incentive for players to go back to old content, and old content doesn't sell. Now Blizzard is a company as any other business. They want to make money. This doesn't really make them necessarily the bad guys or the evil corporation, but this is also the case with every trading card game. When you put new content, you want it to be more interesting, more appealing. This is why in games like Magic the Gathering, the power level of the cards continues to grow. So it incentivizes people to buy the new content and try it out. Decks evolve and metagames evolve and metagames become stronger. So if you go back and do the same thing, you're redoing old content, and this is not something that anybody will go back to buy, I think.
No, you always want to push them to buy the brand spanking new product, and you want to get that out there because that's where you're going to make all your money. You're not going to make that much money off of buying classic packs unless you're a brand new player and you really need that core classic set. All right, you want people to go in there and you want them to buy the new GVG or the new insert name of what the next set is. So I honestly feel that they're not going to go back and change it, but what we'll see instead is they'll make up for this in later expansions coming out. And also, let's point out the fact that they did release BRM earlier ahead of schedule than they did with, say, Curse of Naxxramas, which means we now are looking at a possibility of having 2 adventures a year and a pack expansion. So basically one kind of like new content pack every 4 months. And that's actually a really good schedule for them. It's very similar to what Magic the Gathering does. So if they're going that route, then they're already on the right path.
At the same time, I think, as I kind of touched upon a bit, I think a few cards don't even need revisiting. Like, let's take the Novice Engineer, for example. Like, there's so many other cards that provide better or more than she does at the moment. Like, even if she was back at 1-2, do you think people would actually put the Novice Engineer back on the deck?
No.
Do you think it would be viable again? Yeah.
No, the meta moved beyond it, so it's now to a point of irrelevance. So even changing it won't do anything.
Exactly, and this is going to be the case for every card that there is right now. There's always going to be that one card or those many cards that fulfill the same thing or do it even better, and are just much more efficient. It's just the nature of the game. There have to be really, really bad cards so the other ones can shine, and I think.
Actually, sorry for that. Actually, the Novice Engineer, if it goes back to 1-2, it's gonna be used a lot because now it's the aggro card, which can't die to Spectral Hound that most hunters run. That's the reason why Loot Hoarder doesn't play at the moment, because if they coin out Spectral Hound Creeper, then you can't actually survive that and trade the small minions with your Loot Hoarder, while a Novice Engineering would survive that and it will deal with the small spiders as well.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, I remember that actually one of the main reasons that Novice Engineer was so widely used is because Argent Squire was very popular back in the days, and it could safely trade with this card. And when you trade a cantrip with an actual card, you're actually getting card advantage. So it's not really exactly fair. Cantrips are not supposed to gain you card advantage.
By the way, plus it would deal with 2 dudes from Paladin, which nowadays 2 dudes are so important for Paladin. It's not like back in the days that you couldn't buff them and it was like fodders at the board. Now it would deal with two of them, which is huge.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's cantrips are not supposed to do that. You know, a cantrip card is supposed to just thin your deck. That's its only purpose. And speaking of cantrips, you know, Flare is an interesting card. You know, it was nerfed obviously because you know it was a hunter dominated meta, and hunter just
And they didn't want Gadget Sand working with it, or not Gadget Sand, Gazlo working with it. Because if you could actually have Gazlo in a Hunter deck, that means Arcane Shot, Flare, those automatically power it. That could cause you some problems. But they took that away.
I think it was. I don't really think it was for the Gazlo. I think it was just because a cheap cantrip that also screw up. You know, well, not screw up. It won you the mirror matches, and it absolutely destroyed mages.
It's still being used, just not as much. But it's I don't know. It was one of those things I kind of feel like hurt Hunter more than anything else in being able to move away from an aggro deck. And now it's more. You can try doing the mid range, but the aggro is just always going to be more effective for you. 9 times out of 10, in my personal experience, the aggro on ladder will be more effective.
All right, all right, all right. What about the other cards? You know, Defender of Argus, Sergeant Commander, Blood, Shadow Sun Cleric. They all had either their attack power or their health reduced. And
Okay, I'm going to go to Argent Commander here because this is one that I actually did in another podcast like many years back when we were talking about how this card needed to be nerfed. And my initial statement to it was everybody's using it, everybody's playing it, just get rid of the damn card because it's kind of pointless. The moment they actually dropped it down to a 4/2, people really moved away from it. But now you start looking at it, that's a 6-mana card. What else would we rather have in that slot? Emperor Thorazan? Yeah. Sylvanas? Sure. You know, there's a lot better 6-drops that are out there right now that kind of make Argent Commander not so great. Even the piloted Sky Golem is better than Argent Commander.
even if it was even if it was 4/3, for example, you know,
Even if it was 4/3, I would still pick the piloted Sky Golem or any of the other ones I've just listed over that. So
No. I would pick Crusader over Piloted Strider if it didn't die to all the AoE around.
yeah, I've tried a lot of piloted Sky Golems in various decks, and it never
Four drops are so bad. It's nothing like 2 drops. There are so many bad 4 drops.
We are talking about Argent Commander, man. It's
Yeah, I mean about Pilot Shredder that you get a 4 drop. The
not Pilot Shredder, the Sky Golem.
Golem.
Yeah, Sky Golem, yeah. You get a 4 drop out of it, and 90% of 4 drops are bad. It's not. It's totally different from 2 drops from Pilot Shredder.
Yes, but I could get the piloted Shredder out a turn earlier because of Mech Warper, where I can't do that with the damn Crusader. So I'm gonna take that all day long. I can get a buff using the Power Mace on the piloted Sky Golem, where I can't do that with the damn freaking Argent. So yes, the piloted Sky Golem definitely wins out in that matchup every single time. I don't care how you try to argue it, you're still gonna lose.
Okay, so leaving aside the financial aspect and financial reason why cards will never be unnerfed or buffed or whatever you want to call it, do you guys think that there should be at least some, again, if we put it completely aside, do you think there's merit to revisiting old cards and at least considering the possibility to change something and see, go back to an old card and okay, maybe we want to bring this back to a meta, maybe we can bring an old card, will make this deck more interesting, that deck more interesting.
I mean, and this is something that I think we're going to bring up later as well, but how much does Blizzard care about the competitive aspect of Hearthstone? Like, how much does Blizzard care if Hearthstone is a super balanced and a super competitive game? Like, how much do they care about that fact? Because I don't think they care too much about it, because else they would probably revisit a few cards and they would care more about even buffing a few cards instead of just nerfing everything else. Because this is currently their policy, right? If something is too strong, you'll just nerf it. Not think about what maybe would merit the whole game. Just this card is just too strong. Just nerf it it'll balance it out somehow.
7
You'll
months
see.
later. I'm sorry,
But,
the Undertaker nerf took 7 months. That's all I got to point out on that. 7 months of that shit.
yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is that I don't see card being revisited anytime soon, just because I don't know. Blizzard hasn't really shown any incentive
No,
to
no,
do so.
I agree with you. I don't think this
Yeah.
will ever happen. But just a wishful thinking. Like, would it be cool to see old cards revisited and brought back into the meta if this was ever to happen?
Sure.
I think they could do it. I think they honestly could do it, but you'd have to do it in a very clever way. Kind of like, Warlords of Draenor did, like, hey, we're going back in time without actually going back in time. Something like that. Maybe make a Caverns of Time expansion to where in there you could use those cards in their original form, in their original cost, and things of that nature. I think you can kind of get away with that without actually breaking the damn game, but at the same time, that does not develop a healthy play base anyway. And then people are just going to bitch more, like, oh, we should have had this anyway. So I don't think we're actually going to see it, but it is possible, but we're not going to see it.
All right, all right. So I guess out with the old, in with the new. This is Hearthstone's future. I think it's not necessarily a bad future. I mean, I like it. And personally, I don't want to see old cards being brought up because I've played since beta and I've played with every card possible, and I've played with a lot of novice engineers. I've grown to hate the 3/3 Argent Defender of Argus. I've grown to hate the 4/3 Argent Commander. All that shit. I don't really want old cards back. I just want to see new stuff. But again, closing this topic and moving onwards to our more serious discussions, it's going to be called Money Matters, and we're going to talk about Hearthstone and prize pools and esport and stuff like this, fun stuff. So whenever money gets in the way, it's always a good discussion. So why this topic today? So on May 14th, Blizzard announced their Heroes of the Storm World Championship. And this tournament is supposed to have $1.2 million over all its circuit. So there will be regional competitions all across the globe, and they will choose the best team and they'll send them to BlizzCon, kind of like StarCraft and Hearthstone to some extent work. So all this combined has $1.2 million prize pool. So a huge investment from Blizzard. This is their first. The first hint that they do care about Heroes of the Storm is competitive game. They haven't really been doing a lot of promotion. Heroes of the Storm, I don't really want to talk about it because this was a fiasco halfway through the tournament. It was an experiment more than anything to see how the game will be accepted. But when this announcement was made, Simon Sundin, we've managed him before. Who is via games. No. He's right to some extent in what he wrote. He said Blizzard prize pool of World Championship Series: StarCraft 2 1.6 million, Heroes 1.2 million, Hearthstone 0.25 million. Game with most viewers gets the smallest prize pool. He later then corrected himself to some extent, saying that counting the regional championship, the Hearthstone's total prize pool goes up to 350k. But it's still quite short of StarCraft 2 and Heroes of the Storm. So, even though it's a bit of a weird comparison, he does have a right to some extent. Hearthstone is the most viewed of all Blizzard games. This cannot really be questioned. I mean, just last week they announced that they hit 30 million users. This is 3 times more than what World of Warcraft has. And I really don't want to check StarCraft 2 numbers because I'm gonna feel embarrassed and sad about my original love for the esport. Really, I mean, people joke about that the game is dead. Now it's far from dead, but it's not really sunshine and puppies. So, and Heroes, of course, still new game. It still has to be released officially. It's coming live on June 2nd. So, Hearthstone is Blizzard's new golden hand, and yet they only put substantially less amount of money in the World Championship. But as I said, the comparison is not really entirely fair because StarCraft 2 has a year-long circuit. It has 3 seasons all across the globe and is an established esport since 2010. Heroes, on the other hand, is a new game and in desperate need of promotion. It's also struggling to become recognized in the really stacked world of MOBAs, which kind of is dominated currently by Dota and League of Legends, but there are also other games like Smite that is also doing well. So it's really a stacked market. So you can kind of understand why Blizzard are putting all the big money in these two games and are kind of leaving Hearthstone behind. But
Well, I mean, it's kind of like Blizzard is applying the age-old American philosophy of you've got a problem, throw money at it. All right, you want to get your game noticed, throw a lot of money at it. All right, make it something that people want to. Hey, there's a whole bunch of money I can get from playing this. Let me get in on this. And that's how they're trying to compete. They're literally trying to break themselves into the already established MOBA market by throwing a buttload of money at it. And it might actually work for them, but it makes no sense that they ignore like their biggest cash cow that they've gotten in the past 2 years, which is Hearthstone. And Hearthstone's making them money hand over fist. It is. How are you going to basically say, oh, yeah, you guys, thank you for supporting us. We're not going to do shit for you. Fuck off. It makes no sense. It's almost insulting to the players and those who are actually competing. Yeah, and they need to reevaluate that.
But
they don't have competition on prize pools on Hearthstone. That's the main topic, I think. It's only one card game out there in esports, so they don't need to compete with anyone for the prize pools.
Yeah,
and that's sad because the prize pool is freaking low for what people are supposed to do to get there and win that shit.
Yeah, I mean, just to get to the World Championship, I mean, think about all the things you got to do. You've got to get enough points to get there, which means you're grinding the ladder constantly. You're going to all these open invitationals, trying to win there just to get the points to get to, that whole qualifying stage, and then you got to battle through there just to. I mean, that's a lot of work for a very little payout in comparison to some of these other games, which also have quite a bit of work, but a greater payout. So it feels a little shameful to me. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
At the same time, we kind of have to put things into perspective, right? Like if we take out StarCraft, which is an esport older than
I think it started the concept of esports, actually.
Basically. And if we just look at Heroes, I mean, sure, 1.2 million, wow, that sounds amazing. But then look at what does the first team get? What does the first place get? Maybe they get I guess 700,000 or something. I don't know. I don't know the prize pool distribution, but let's say even if they got the 1.2 million all by themselves, they'd still have to split it 5 ways. Which is something that you should actually this is not to be this is, for example, I was at WEC and Dota had the bigger prize pool than Hearthstone, but if you just really looked at the numbers, what each player made, Hearthstone just blew everyone out of the water. They got twice what the others made. So I guess we kind of have to put things into perspective there, but I do agree that it's kind of ridiculous considering how I imagine Hearthstone made Blizzard much more money than StarCraft and Blizz Heroes did in this last year altogether.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You guys are kind of answering my question of, is it fair that Hearthstone gets almost 6 times less money if you compare it to StarCraft 2?
Well, taking what Skim said, let's look at this. MOBAs are team sports, so dividing to 5. So yeah, Hearthstone is still getting douched about 20% here, but not really, because individually is what we're actually looking at here when it comes to Hearthstone. So trying to compare individual versus team is always going to be that weird sort of dynamic here. But I honestly think that Hearthstone should be a little bit higher, at least $500,000. Personally, that's just me.
There's actually a lot of money being put in Hearthstone nonetheless. I mean, not from Blizzard, but actually most of the prize money come from third-party organizers. In fact, this year alone, third parties have invested close than $560,000, and we are only counting the big events here, tier 1 and tier 2 events. And
that's just for prize pool. That's not including production costs or anything of that nature.
Yeah, just prize pools, and just from January until now. So we are not even through the month of May. So almost more than $500,000 put by third-party tournaments. So, and besides licensing, Blizzard barely gets involved in the Hearthstone competitive scene. They let third-party tournaments to operate the entire competitive stage. So The first question here is it okay for a developer to put so much less money compared to third-party organizers? I'm not sure why you guys laughing.
Actually, to be honest, I think it's ridiculous that a team, not even an organization that makes tournaments, give the same amount of money as BlizzCon. I am talking about the Archon Team
Yeah,
League.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, never mind. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to let you speak.
I just have a question, Logan. Are you sitting in front of the women's bathroom? Because there's like girls walking in and out of there. I'm just really curious.
No, it's
That's
just
the
a
first changing room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know that if the girl gets bare-breasted, we can get banned from Twitch? So, please, I mean, I would love to see a naked woman, but let's not do it today. So, yeah. Anyways,
Back to the actual topic at hand.
back to the actual topic of money and not to women.
I think what Logan said earlier is super important in this discussion. Like the fact that there's no competition for Blizzard. Like, even if they don't step up the game, like where are all the Hearthstone players gonna go? Like it's not there. Oh, they're not. It's not like they're gonna threaten. Hey guys, if this isn't working out, I'm going to Magic. Like Blizzard couldn't care less. Because ultimately, this game has become so big just because it's also on mobile and whatnot that there's always going to be somebody around to, carry this game sort of. So I guess there's not enough competition there. And at the same time, I think they're very busy with making sure that this game is developing into, this worldwide phenomenon. So I think it was expected to not be big this year, but I wouldn't be surprised actually if they stepped it up for next year because, like, when was it released on mobile? Like a month ago?
Yeah,
a month ago maybe?
Like this.
Yeah, I think with this year's BlizzCon, it's still going to be all about the promotion, making sure that Hearthstone is out there for everybody to see, for everybody to play. I actually encountered a few people playing Hearthstone on the subway a few days ago. That was pretty cool. So I think once this phase has passed, I wouldn't be surprised if they introduced a much bigger involvement next year. But at the same time, I'm of course also worried that this is not going to happen because I think the Hearthstone scene definitely deserves it. Like, there's so many passionate people in there; they definitely deserve to be, to have more money in the scene.
I
agree. I agree.
Because I think basically what they're doing here, and I don't think it's wrong at all, is they said from the start it's going to be a casual and non-esport game, right? And this is only continuing their logic. I mean, it's a flat out statement that this is not a competitive game. This is not up at the same level as StarCraft 2 and Heroes, which are developed to be an esport game. So kind of like be grateful that you have even the $250,000 because it's supposed to be a casual phone game. So the fact that we are acknowledging the esports scene, with $250,000 should be enough.
It is,
and this is, yeah, you go ahead.
It is. It really is something there because in many ways when Hearthstone first came out, a lot of people I knew in Manic Ground was like, they're going to transition this. They're only testing it on PC to transition it over to a mobile app because this feels more like a mobile game than anything else. And then what did we see? The tablets got it as in the next logical transition down to a smaller screen, and now we've got it to phones. And eventually, like Nymph was joking around, we'll be able to play it on our shirts. But I kind of feel like, they've hit all their marks here, and they have a really huge thing, and if they don't keep their eye on it, they're going to mismanage it. And you guys have been saying, like, there's no competition here. People forget that there is a Magic the Gathering online. It's nowhere near as successful. There's a whole slew of other companies out there trying to push their concept of a digital card game out there. Even Wargaming, the guys behind, World of Tanks and stuff of that nature have got their own card game that they're putting out right now. So there's definitely a lot of people who smell the blood in the water that are going to start putting out content and putting out new stuff. Even Hex, the game that everybody was like, oh, it's like so Magic the Gathering, but not quite. That's still out there. So there's possibilities that something can come along and take the bait. And next thing you know, Blizzard's left ass out because people are like, oh, yeah, hey, you guys set up something cool, but this is better. Because they have their eye on the prize.
That's like saying Heroes of New Earth is serious competition towards MOBAs. It's like,
I'm not even going to have the conversation about Heroes of North versus other MOBAs.
Or
I'm not
like-
going to have this conversation.
or like
I am
that new
not gonna
MOBA
have
from
this.
S2.
Riot can make easily a fucking card game. They are used to like easy and casual games, right, Skim?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually did. I mean, I'm actually surprised that they haven't because, quite frankly, they already have that audience, like the targeted audience. Like, I don't know how many users League of Legends has, but
Well, they are at
Oh,
that
shit ton.
70 million monthly.
and just imagine if they slap like their own card game into the same client. That's like put it like when you log on to League of Legends, you see like, oh, there's a card game that even involves the same champions and runes and shit. What I have from my shitty MOBA game.
Wasn't it like last year we heard rumors about
Yeah.
either Riot was developing one or Dota was developing their own card game?
Right.
I
based on
think Valve was rumored to develop their own
Right.
card game. I don't know. But,
I think there was a rumor about Riot as well. But yeah, you pointed out something, Skim, that of course they don't have the competition, but competition can arrive, and Blizzard are not really good with dealing with competition. That they have a bad running record of screwing up stuff when they get involved, because what will happen
Shoot.
what will happen when a competition Okay, so what will happen when a competition arrives is that Blizzard will try to get involved naturally to help their product. And if you go back to StarCraft 2, their involvement led to two horrible outcomes. They tried to intervene at the start of StarCraft 2 when they came and tried to mess up with Caspa's work, which basically built the StarCraft scene in South Korea. And they also tried to do it again in 2012 when they wanted to set up the WCS, the first attempt of a World Championship series, and it was a mess. So it actually took them 4 years to find out the way that where they can manage their own game at a proper level. So there's actually a valid concern here. So this is kind of outside the point of price pools, by the way, but still a valid point. Back to the main topic. Do you guys think that there will be a point where third parties price pool, start rivaling, that of the World Championship? I know we've already had some examples, but they start rivaling the World Championship purse so much that Blizzard are basically forced to react by upping the ante.
I think if anything, it had to be something like either from something like Archon or something player driven, because if we I don't expect any company, like any organization such as DreamHack or MLG or like an established organization in esports, I don't expect any of them to do it because they don't have to. Like, why would they try to top the world championship? Like, they don't need to. I mean, you look at DreamHack, they can only throw out 40K at the players, and still everybody's going to come and everybody's going to watch. So I don't think anybody needs to, but I can see player-driven projects such as Archon to strive to the occasion, because they are very young and they're very passionate about esports, and they are the ones that they don't need to play by the rules, quote unquote. Like they don't have to. They don't have to say, oh well, we could technically just produce these little 2K. Like if like Archon didn't need to do this league, they could have just thrown out pinnacle after pinnacle after pinnacle. They would have still gotten the same views. They would still gotten the same amount of players attending, and it would still be, it's an easy concept. They would have worked. But, they're very passionate about it, and they're like, hey, guys, we want to have this awesome league, and we're just going to rival Blizzard. And I think Archon, Temple Storm, or Nihilium even, I think these sort of projects, they could technically work on something that could rival, if not even surpass the prize pool or the magnitude of a BlizzCon.
What I think will is actually agree with you that there's also another thing about player-driven projects. They actually have a bigger effect onto a company, because if a DreamHack puts 250K tournament, that I think will never ever happen. Blizzard can say, well, it's DreamHack. They're big organizations, of course they can put this much money. But when a small team, like a one-person business or whatever, puts the same amount of money as the developer, it makes you look fucking bad. It makes you look fucking cheap. Because, you know, Hamas comes and, you know, with his sponsors put as much money as BlizzCon. What happens if next month, you know, Renet does the same? And, you know, again, Renet, you know, runs a very small business compared to fucking Blizzard. So it kind of makes you look bad. Because, you know, it's okay to be overshadowed by DreamHack. It's okay to be overshadowed by IEM, ESL, these guys. But when one person with small business behind him does that, it's fucking embarrassing.
Well, we covered this, I believe, last week, where I voiced concerns that eventually Blizzard would have to come in, step in, and set down ground rules and basically caps. Where if this kind of thing starts happening more and more, I think we might actually get there to where you're going to see the quote-unquote soft cap, where thou shalt not be more than the World Championship. And I really like that not to happen, because I just feel that's kind of meh. Because then next thing you know, they're going to be saying, by the way, if you're in this league, you can't play or stream this other game, and I don't want to go down the Riot path.
Give me a sec. I think DreamHack doesn't give that much money on their competition and every other established organization, because they throw in, like, we give you not only money, but we give you BlizzCon points as well. So people will come anyway just to get that fucking points.
Sure, but like if the Archon League do the same, like they can do, you know, the same format as DreamHack. They have no limitations, and they can still get license for WCS points. And now, yeah, we're getting into the same trouble.
Like Pinnacle 4?
What?
Like Pinnacle 4?
Yeah, I can't really hear you what you're saying, but
like Pinnacle 4. I mean,
yeah, it's nothing like Pinnacle 4. But back to your point here, like you said, a soft cap is a bad thing, and this is absolutely true, because the logic should be the other way around. I mean, prize pools get raised in the community, and then the developer responds not by soft capping it, but raising the bar themselves. Kind of like what we have in the International here, which is one of the most brilliant, you know, esports ideas I've seen ever. I mean, Valve said, okay, you basically have, you know, so much money and so much activity goes to the Dota scene. We are not just gonna cap it. We are just gonna, you know, offer you something extremely amazing. You know, so just buy this shit, and we'll just keep raising the prize pool. And so what happened is the International last year was the highest paying event ever in esports. You know, rivaling traditional sports. So this should be the logic with Hearthstone. I see it.
It should be, but it probably won't be, because, well, that would just mean common sense. And let's be honest, sometimes common sense does not apply to these people. There's also another concept here. Now, when Blizzard, you have any kind of tournament over a certain amount of money and you want it to actually be involved with Blizzard, you have to actually apply for licensing and all this, and they have certain rules and whatnot. Now, it could actually get to a point where you'll have sanctioned and unsanctioned matches, and you might actually see these huge, giant prize pools being an unsanctioned match, because you get no Blizzard support, you get no World Championship points, but it's literally just there for the players to come and compete and, you know, make money for whatever group is holding this event. So you might actually see these unsanctioned events that are going to, like, just blow the roof off of this. However, I really don't see that we're anywhere near that point yet, but it is possible of happening in the future.
All right. Do you guys think that Blizzard should start getting involved in some way or the other? Like, you know, at least barely, you know, try to maybe support third parties more. I don't know. Just to get themselves more connected with their own game, and not just, you know, come in November, you know, hold BlizzCon and go away again.
I mean, if we just look at it very, very negatively, we could just ask ourselves, like, why would Blizzard even need to? Honestly, like, why would they need to pump out more money into the scene? Like, for them, this is something they stated from the beginning. They don't want this to, like, they didn't intend for this to be a competitive game, even though I think it's a kind of bullshit statement, but like, they immediately had an excuse. Like, they immediately had, like, hey guys, we didn't want this to be a competitive game. You made it competitive. We're just like, you know, we'll just go along with it. And I said this before. I think honestly, like their BlizzCon event is just promo. Like, sure, it's
Yeah.
250K, but it's just promo. And yeah, sure, they treat it as the World Championship, and with by titling it the World Championship, they just immediately draw this huge attention over the whole year. Like everybody, oh, I want BlizzCon points so I can go to the World Championship. But in the end, it's still just promo. And quite frankly, as long as as long as no other tournament organizer comes out and suddenly starts pumping out much more money into it, I don't see Blizzard feeling the need to actually step up the game at this point. I would love to see it. I would love to see them put out more money into the scene. Maybe even adopt something like Valve has done for CS:GO and is now doing for Dota, introducing some sort of major system where you have like 4 huge tournaments over the whole year instead of just this one spectacular World Championship, which are also financially supported by Blizzard. But I don't see it happening yet, and I don't like at least for another 2 or 3 years because the status quo that we've currently reached, it's working for Blizzard. Like as soon as there's a new expansion, people stop crying for anything else. They just want the new expansion. And if you like, I don't know if any of you have watched Noxious video regarding the sort of like fun tournaments and stuff. Like, as long as these fun tournaments keep happening, like these fun tournaments are actually much more enjoyable, and they show that the large audience from Hearthstone is actually interested in this sort of fun aspect from Hearthstone. So as long as people keep streaming and as long as there's like these fun tournaments, I don't think that Blizzard actually feels the need to step up the game in terms of a competitive aspect from the game because, quite frankly, like it's working.
What I'm interested in is if Blizzard will actually adopt a multiple format system for tournament play to where you'll have one set that's, here's your standard design and here's your special rule set design one and have competitions on that. And, thus actually having separate prize pools for each one of the formats, but in total having a larger prize pool. I think that's something that would be kind of interesting, but I don't know how you'd give it as much exposure in the limited amount of time that they'll have at BlizzCon.
Another thing about that I see as a reason behind Hearthstone's lower price pool for the World Championship is the legitimacy of Hearthstone is an esport. I mean, we've already touched about it when we talked about the game being designed. It's not an esport, but I'm talking about the larger picture here. And I spend a lot of time on Twitter and social media because this is my job. And what I see is Hearthstone is being constantly devaluated by its champions. I mean, you just hop on Twitter and you will see players tweeting about losses because of RNG. We even shout esports in the region when RNG is involved. Like, yeah, he's going for the esports solution and he'll just cast implosion or something like this. So this is something that truly angers me basically because it constantly puts bad light on its own game. So we are trying to build it as an esport, and at the same time it's also painted in negative overtones. It's not an esport. I mean, it's both things cannot really happen at the same time. I see it, and instead of being built as a competitive game in something like StarCraft 2 Heroes of the Storm, it continues to be solely used for marketing campaigns for products. So it goes back to what Skim said, is that the World Championship is a big promotion for Hearthstone. Well, every other competition in Hearthstone, like 100% of them, maybe excluding DreamHacks, because even DreamHacks, sponsored by Nescafes or something like this, they're basically promotion campaigns. This is all that Hearthstone is apparently good for. So being if I was like a developer of a big company or something like this, and I'm wondering if I should invest in Hearthstone as an esport and raise the price pool, I just wouldn't, because it's not an esport. Nobody talks about it as an esport.
Well,
card games been like 20 years now. They are like competitive with having RNG. Get used to it. I mean, seriously. Something having some small RNG doesn't mean that it's not competitive.
No.
Magic the Gathering is like one of the most established scenes around, and it includes RNG in that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but minor amount in comparison to Hearthstone. In all honesty, let's be honest. The RNG in Magic, I mean, whole lot of RNG in Magic, and they've slowly removed it down to where the only RNG you really have is in what cards you draw. But here's a question: would you consider poker a sport?
yes.
Okay, then why is that different from Hearthstone being an
No, no, no.
esport?
Again, I'm not saying that Hearthstone is not an esport. I'm
No,
saying that
I'm
yeah.
I get what
Okay.
you're saying, but what I'm saying is a lot of people want to say, oh, Hearthstone can't be an esport because it has RNG. Well, then, if that's the case, then poker should not be classified as a sport, because there's those variables that apply there too. But in Hearthstone, it's a lot more. The one thing that I will say about Hearthstone in comparison to regular sports here, all right, you get the same kind of story in them. Like, oh, it's at the buzzer. He throws the ball from midcourt, gets the 3-point that wins his team the game, and they were down exactly 2 points, and they were going to lose it. You get those moments in Hearthstone like any other sport. So why is it so difficult for like the rest of the community to accept that? I have a hard time understanding this concept because for me, a sport is something that a group of people are going to enjoy watching, and they get thrilled about, they get excited about. They want to see these people do the things that they know that they'll never be able to do. All right. And Hearthstone's got all that. So it amazes me that even the pro players sit here and go, oh, it's not a real sport because of RNG. I only won because of RNG. I only lost because of RNG. And by the way, during that whole HTC thing, I can't tell you how many times I saw Nefarian or Riot, and even myself going, don't be a pussy, Tides, play Nefarian. Because we all knew what was going to happen. You play Nefarian, and you hope for the damn sack pack and win. All right? That was an option. It was an option.
Yeah, I brought this up because you kind of invest in an esport, like even if a game is a proper esport, you actually want to invest more money to recognize the skill that it takes to win a game. Because becoming a world champion of StarCraft 2 requires tremendous effort. I mean, way more than Hearthstone will ever require. I mean, it's constant training, year log, etc., etc. And StarCraft 2 is one of the most demanding esports out there. Together with Dota 2, League of Legends, CS:GO. I could understand people throwing money at it is because winning a lot, a fat check is worthy in the end because you earned it. Like nobody can say that you won the world championship because you got lucky. And as much as we like to deny it, or at least I would like to deny it, this happens a lot in Hearthstone. Games are won on numbers. They're won on luck. They're won and lost based on misplays, but they're also the random variance. So when there's a chance that you do not win 100% based on skill, I think it's a fair decision to award less money to such a game compared to games like StarCraft 2 and CS:GO and yada yada.
I think it's a funny discussion overall, considering that, I don't know, like for years, people in esports have been discussing and competing and been very eager about the whole fact that esports is not considered as real sports, and how dare you call esports not real sports, and how dare you call esports real sports. And then some of those very same people are like, Hearthstone is actually not a real esports. How could you even call Hearthstone esports? It's basically the same thing except like a step below that. And I don't know, like Chiv said, like for me it's really like RNG or not, if you just look at the numbers, if you just look at the passionate people in it, behind it, around it, like watching it, it's just like, why are we even arguing? Like, there's 200,000 people watching Hearthstone every day or something. Like, so many people are passionate about this game. Like, why are we even arguing about whether it's esport or not? I thought, personally, for me, esports is something that you're really passionate, competitive about, and that's what Hearthstone is, right? Like, who's not passionate about his game? Like, I throw my tablet away as soon as I lose to RNG. Like, yeah, exactly. See, so I don't know. I feel like this discussion, yeah, I mean, I can see why people are arguing about whether or not it should be esports or not, just based on RNG, but at the same time, it's like Hearthstone combines all these basic facts and, I want to say, elements that has made esports so popular. Like, it's it's easy to understand. It's just
Fun.
people are just
Yeah.
super passionate about it. It's fun. It's a video game, for crying out loud. Like, why are we even arguing about it? I don't know.
So basically, what you're saying is high skill cap, low skill cap shouldn't matter. It shouldn't define price pools in the end.
I mean, if we talked about if we start talking about low and high skill cap, I gotta ask why Heroes of Storm is even in this list. Like, why is it even getting a price pool?
Shots fired.
Let's even include League of Legends.
Fuck.
Like League of Legends, I mean, I don't know. Okay, I can understand League of Legends, but I don't know. Heroes of the Storm. If we really talk about
Small
RNG
disclaimer.
and,
Small disclaimer. You're a Dota 2 player. So
yeah, I'm a Dota 2 player, but like,
hey,
if we did talk about low skill
if
cap,
it's so low, the skill cap, so go on, guys. Won a BlizzCon to prove that it's so easy to do.
yeah, exactly. If people say that it's so easy to play Hearthstone, why don't they just go to BlizzCon and try to win it?
all right.
Exactly. I mean, Logan, you're a good player. Have you been to BlizzCon?
No, because I wasn't aligned last year because Greece.
Right.
Well,
he
that's because there's a trade sanction against goat orgies. That's right.
fucking hit you there.
Go out here, let me go.
Okay, so guys, we're ready to bring the show to a wrap. I think in the end we all agree more money for Hearthstone, Blizzard, please. Just give us a bigger championship at least next year. We know that we're not seeing an increase in 2015, but towards the end of the show, thank you all guys for joining in. Thank you to my hosts, going for the usual roundup of final shoutouts. Skim, anything you want to say to the camera? Where can people find you on Twitter, social media, whatever?
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Skim Gaming on Twitter. Shout out to my three peeps sitting here, especially Logan. I gotta say that music is awesome. And you are sitting in front of a bathroom. I saw a toilet.
I did too.
I saw a toilet. Like, how can you not agree?
Is it?
And what's worse, it was a woman who went in there and the toilet seat was up. That really
Yeah,
disturbs
it has
me.
to be a woman's bathroom.
But the toilet seat was up. That's what's confusing me.
Was it? I don't remember.
Yes, it was up.
I don't remember.
This is a more heated.
It's a white stand.
This is
What?
a more.
It's somewhere to sit. It's not.
No. Open that door. I need to see it.
That porcelain is porcelain.
Yeah, this is a more heated discussion than anything on the show so far. So thanks for being passionate about toilets. Towards the end of the show.
Toilets, the actual esport.
Yeah. How big of a price pool should toileting have, like in 2016?
I don't know. I think in 2016, Toilet Stone is going to probably rake in at least 125K initially. But 2017, that's where it's going to break out and hit the 500K mark.
Yeah,
That's what's gonna be real.
Okay, Chiv. Again, where can people find you? Any final words? Something about toilets or goats and anything?
All right, you can find me at the Shiv1 on Twitter, or you can just look down right here and the little name plate. Got YouTubes and all other shit. You can find me all over Hearthstone, wherever the fuck you want to go. Other than that, Deck Talk is coming back soon, and we're almost done with more flavor text and crap for the next edition of MechDorks Workshop. Because yes, we've been slacking for some odd reason. Other than that, Toilet Stone. 2016, make it happen, and Goat Orgy.
I think
Gonna rock that one.
Did we just lose Logan to?
You have to go to the bathroom.
Toilet Stone claims another victim.
Okay, so I'm not sure if Logan is coming back, but you can
Maybe
follow.
the goat got to him.
Maybe you can follow him at Logan_HS. He's still teamless because he sucks as a player, but yeah. Oh, he's now screwing up my overlays. Never mind. So. Yeah, this was all for the show, guys. You can find me at GGNidra, and you can find my work at GosuGamersHS. There will be another show again next Monday. Hopefully, we'll have another nice topic for you that we discuss. Join us at Monday 9 p.m. CEST, which is 3 o'clock Eastern. So yeah, thank you.
Which is good for me because I woke up hungover.
Yeah, there's plenty of time for the Chief to sober up. So yeah, see you again next Monday, and thank you for listening.